with Kristina Carrillo. Don't know how to pronounce your second last name.
Carrillo Bucaram.
Carrillo Bucaram.
There you go.
Lebanese and Ecuadorian.
Yes, but people call me Fully Raw Kristina because they can't pronounce my last name, so it's better that way.
Great.
Right?
Yep. Fully Raw Kristina. She is super badass on YouTube and Instagram. Over 1 million followers on both of those. Super awesome. I've been watching you for a long time. And yeah, welcome to the show. We may have to deal with some vacuuming above me, but hopefully you guys can tolerate it for another few minutes. She doesn't. There we go. She doesn't vacuum for more than 10 minutes at a time, historically speaking. So we should be all right.
It's okay. I just found these little cute emojis. I'll be narrating through our conversation.
Great.
About them. They're so cute.
Where are they? I don't know where those are on Skype. Oh, I see them.
Left side.
I see them.
See that little heart? You click on them and then see, life just became a little bit more special.
Alrighty, so yeah, let's start. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everyone what you're about.
So my name is Kristina, and I met Josh basically online. I've been online, like had an online presence for maybe about 5 years now, almost 6 years now, and I very much got started by promoting, believing, talking about the powerful life transforming effects of consuming a raw vegan lifestyle. It's a diet, but I call it a lifestyle. And my personal journey started when I was 16, when I was diagnosed with diabetes, type 2 hyperglycemic, so I had high blood sugar. And I got so sick that for after 2 years, I was in and out of hospitals by the time I was 18. And I remember getting out of the hospital one day and I was emaciated. I had patches on my arm from the IVs. And a stranger walked up to me in the grocery store and started telling me about eating raw foods and fruits and vegetables. And it was clear that he was trying to be kind and help me because I did not look good. And his name was John Rose. He's awesome.
I know him. Yeah.
He's just one of my best friends in the whole world. I love him. Anyway, so he started talking to me, and I thought he was so bizarre when I first met him. I mean, but imagine having met John Rose when you were 18, 13 years ago in a grocery store, me being a teenage girl. I wasn't sure what to expect. Plus, being Lebanese and Ecuadorian, I never grew up eating fruits and vegetables. It was just Lebanese Ecuadorian food, which is basically fried everything in olive oil, chicken, beans, and rice, right? So, he started telling me about eating fruits and vegetables, and hi, my name is John Rose. And I do my juicing.
I love that.
I took his card because I was interested, but I ended up, going back into the hospital that night. And when I got out, I actually called him 3 days later. I was like, I have hit rock bottom. And I'm only 18 years old, and if this is what the rest of my life is going to be like, then I don't want to live it because I can't imagine being sick for the rest of my life. And his response to me immediately after that was, "Do you squat when you poop?" And I was like, "What?" Wait, what?
I'm just calling you because I need a friend.
No, but he was like, "You know what? I can help you." And, he met me at the grocery store every day that week, and we just talked, and he started educating me about, what I was eating and why that wasn't good for me and how this just beginning to eat more fruits and vegetables can change my life. But me being the very intense person that I am, I was like, well, I'm either going to do this all in or not at all. And so I jumped right in, and I went into being a fruitarian, essentially, for one night, and I just never went back. I went raw in one night, never went back. I was 87 pounds at the time.
Wow.
I'm 5'7".
Whoa.
And I walked out of that grocery store with 80 pounds of peaches. That lasted me for 3 days. And it's funny because when I left the grocery store, everybody was like, "Are you starting a restaurant?"
Peach cobbler?
I'm not. But from there, it was a learning journey about healing my body and how just eating fruits and vegetables in their natural state could completely transform my life. A year and a half later, I didn't have diabetes and I was healthy and thriving and so excited about this lifestyle and making huge changes in my life. I went to college and I was, the only person I knew in my dorm room who went through their whole college experience, just like eating bananas that they stored under their bed and, not drinking, but just getting excited to live life and to feel healthy. Like that was the first time in my life that I had ever felt health or what health had felt like. And it was just like, I didn't care if I had friends. I didn't care about anything. I was just excited to experience that. And I ended up transferring colleges later, and then I started my organic co-op, which basically I started the largest chain of farmers markets in Texas my senior year of college at Rice, I believe, junior or senior year of college at Rice. And it ended up being the largest chain of farmers markets in Texas for over a decade. I just closed it down about a year ago, and we had over 53,000 members in Texas, and that was like my life for like a good decade, 11 years to be exact. And yeah, I just feel so passionately about sharing the message of, eating raw fruits and vegetables, eating local, eating organic, eating as many colors as possible. Josh, you're all about detox dudes, right? Like showing different recipes, getting people to cleanse their body, because that physical component is like the entry door, right, into everything else, which it's so funny for me because I thought the physical component was like as good as it got. But I really, now having been doing this for almost 13 years, the physical component for me was just the surface level. It opened up so much more for the emotional healing. And then once it's like I broke through that, then it was like the spiritual aspect came through. And granted, we work on all three all the time, but that cleansing process really does begin with what you put in your body and like the food that you eat. And it's an awakening. It's like it literally is an awakening to a new life and a new part of yourself. And it's amazing to me because before I went raw, I would literally just dread getting up every day, whether it was to go to school or to like do something with my family. It was just like, oh, I gotta get up in the morning. I don't feel like it. This is awful. And now when I get up, I'm just like, birds are singing, I couldn't wait to get up in the morning just to like make my smoothie, feel good, get in my workout, whole different enthusiasm for life that I had never been able to experience before.
Beautiful. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you're about to say something else?
Go.
You go. I definitely want to talk more about the spiritual, emotional, and what you just mentioned, but I want to say something that came to me while you were telling your story. Like the fact that you were 18 and probably surrounded by people who were, pretty unconscious or not concerned with their health or just following the mainstream, lifestyle, to be able to like open your mind at that age while there's all of the whole tide around you is taking you one way. That's such an amazing like accomplishment. It's like most people really have to, what it proves to me is it's not about age, it's about how much someone's suffering, right? When someone's in pain and someone's suffering, like they realize how cracked the standard model is, and then they have to figure out something else. They have to like they search for something else. So because I know John Rose, I've watched his videos and he's a super intense dude. So to be like 18 years old dealing with, all of that you're dealing with, and to be able to open up your mind to him, it's really amazing because he's so intense and so far away from what mainstream is. So it's really beautiful. I just wanted to comment on that.
Add something to that because I feel at the time I really felt like I had no other choice. Yep. Up and from the time that I was 16 to 18, I had tried everything. Doctor's prescriptions, they were injecting me with insulin. Like if you could, people were calling me a concentration camp victim. I looked so bad and I couldn't walk without fainting. At that point I was like throwing up on the every other daily basis because I couldn't hold things down with like everything that they were giving me and the Medicaid. Like it was so bad. And then At that point, they told me that I was almost not going to graduate high school because I'd had so many sick days. And I was supposed to be graduating valedictorian. So it's like, at that point, I
Whoa.
was just like, "Ugh," I
Yeah.
couldn't take life. Um, but yeah, I'd never thought of it as an age thing, but more so it was really difficult because my family is so cultural. Like food is not just food. It is like
Life.
me abandoning my culture, right? Like my mom didn't talk to me for 4 years when I went raw. Four
Wow.
years.
Because she took it personally that you weren't eating her food, maybe, right?
Yeah, at
Yeah.
our first Thanksgiving, she didn't let me sit at the table with everybody. She made me sit outside by myself with the kids, like the little 2-year-olds. She was embarrassed that I had a plate of pears and that everybody else was eating, the kibbenaye, the grape leaves, the baklava, and I just was eating pears. She was
Hmm.
so offended by me.
Yeah.
And the way that she talked about me in front of our whole, I have 32 first cousins on my mom's side. So the way, like, it almost felt like an abandonment of my family. But at that point, like, I just got to the point where I didn't care because if they couldn't see how much better I was feeling, then it meant that they didn't love me somehow. But
Hmm.
that's what was so mind blowing about this entire experience is that I was unlearning everything that I'd ever learned. And I felt like I'd been lied to my whole life.
Hmm.
When I was little, my mother told us that if we were sick and we wanted to feel better, that before we go to bed, we drink a cup of olive oil and then sleep on it. No, I'm
That's
being
probably better
serious.
than a lot of remedies that people have, like warm milk.
But the funny thing is that when John walked up to me in the grocery store that day, I thought he was hitting on me or like wanted something from me because I'd never had anybody do that before.
Hmm.
Right? And
Hmm.
so I remember after he approached me that day and he was intense, I went home and I remember we're all just like sitting at dinner and my mother, asks me, she's like, "Well, how was your day?" And I was like, "I think I met a rabbit man today."
A
Like that was my
rabbit
exact
man?
answer. A rabbit man.
What does that mean? Like a wild man?
Because in the grocery store, he told me that he doesn't eat cooked foods and he only eats fruits
Oh,
and
okay,
vegetables.
okay.
And so my mind was like, "You eat carrots all day?" Like, right? Like I couldn't process.
Hmm.
And it's so funny. My mom was like, "Nushka Allah, the carrot man. What are you talking about?" Like she couldn't like. She's like, "My daughter really is going
Yeah.
nuts." um, but after that, it was more so that I had tried everything and I was exhausted. And like when you're that broken, and I don't want to say broken, but like when you are that like down, like you are willing to try anything.
Yep.
And for me, it was like, try eating fruits and vegetables. Okay, nothing, right, Lauren? I'll try it. But after 3 days of trying it, it's like my migraines went away. I wasn't as dizzy. Like I noticed a difference in how I felt. And for me, that was like, shit, I've been like taking all these drugs and trying all these things and nothing's been working. It's like, and I'm eating fruits and vegetables and I'm feeling better. Like,
Hmm.
um,
It's so crazy. Keep going,
but
yeah.
that's the thing. Like at the time, I didn't even think of it as me being brave. It was more so just everybody had a problem with me doing it, and I just wanted to find something that worked.
Hmm. Yeah. And he had no idea that he was investing his time into someone who was going to be like transforming the planet, basically. Like we go and
Oh
we
wow!
we
He
help
always
people.
says,
What he always said
"Oh
he
no,"
knew
he
it.
always says that he knew.
Oh
Like
wow,
that's so weird. And he
wow,
goes, "Oh, I knew it from the moment I saw it." Like
wow.
he'll tell me all the time. He just knew, and I think it's so funny. Um, and he always would say that I was his student, but like I would call him wee hours of the night, like 2 a.m. I'd ring him, "John, my poop is blue." He'd be like, "It's blue, I'm freaking out over here." And
Yeah.
he'd be like, "Did you eat blueberries?" "Maybe." "Okay, well, night,"
Yeah.
like, but to have somebody be there for you like that, but that's the thing, that's just him all the time. He's always on. He wants to help everybody. Like if you met, he lives 10 minutes from me right now.
Hmm.
He likes to just go out into the park and walk around and walk up to random people and start talking to them about this. That's what he does on a daily.
Wow.
Like, and it's just like what he does.
Yeah. So he's on his mission, spreading the word. But it's
He
just
wants to
beautiful
wake
to see
people up.
how he that magnified through you, putting his energy into you literally opened up a whole new millions of people who are learning about it, you know? So it's really cool to see, to hear about. Yeah.
He's a firecracker for sure.
Hmm. Yeah,
For
mucoid.
those who don't know who John Rose is, um, he is an amazing pioneer who's been a raw vegan for like 32 years now. He's done like hundreds of juice fasts, is a huge advocate of juicing, juice feasting, so to speak. He has online programs and books, and just as of a few years ago, started his own YouTube channel and is super passionate about spreading the message of waking people up with food, you know, getting people out of the dogmas that, you know, limit their life and more. He's amazing. Very
Mhm.
intense, but
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, always has his shirt off. He's like 65 years old and shredded and just like, "Hi, I'm John Rose. Do you have mucoid plaque?" The serpent inside of us. Yeah. Um, yeah. So back to the spiritual emotional thing. I totally agree with you. The detox is literally a gateway into a whole new life, a whole new world. You know, most people's bodies are so toxic and they're so filled with junk that they can't even connect to their own emotions. They can't connect to spirituality, and everything is just cloudy. There's just like a cloud around them, you know? And when you start doing this work and cleaning this vessel, well, I call this like the receiver of consciousness. You know, a lot of people and science says that we are generating consciousness with our minds, with our brains, you know, but I feel like we're receiving it almost like Avatar. You know, the movie Avatar where you like, you know,
Oh,
fly
do you
into a
want to know
body.
Avatar?
Yeah, yeah. So that's how I believe, you know, we're running on some sort of, you know, cosmic energy, you know, and I think we come into a body and we're borrowing this meat body, you know, we're like temporarily exploring it for this lifetime. And when your machine is dirty or doesn't have lubrication, the machine isn't going to run smoothly, you know, like a car not having oil. I'm getting love sign after love sign here, so that means she's
I'm
with me
loving
on this.
it.
Yeah.
Go.
So so yeah, I really believe that once you start cleaning it, it's almost like your antenna literally perks up to the right frequency, and it's like, oh, like okay, I'm not supposed to be miserable and working for other people and like hate my life. Like I feel like when you detox, you start to realize that this is kind of a paradise here, you know, and there's still pain in life and there's still hardships, but we're really living on a paradise. And look at all the animals and the creatures and the nature outside, you know, the trees and the leaves. Like this is like a DNA seed bank, you know, there's so much here, but we're just, most people aren't even enjoying it, you know, because of all the dogma. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
But you know, I think that that's a lot of people are also really disconnected from nature at this point. Think about it.
Hmm.
Most people are living in a concrete jungle. They're not exposed to the outdoors anymore. They don't get sun. They're not spending time with their families. They're not getting in proper nutrition. They're literally not receiving any of the things that would bring them joy. Society has almost made it impossible for us to be happy.
Hmm.
Like like working in impossible jobs that may make us unhappy, feeding us bad food, taking away time where we could be outdoors or with people that we love. Like they're literally stripping us of everything that could make us happy or bring us joy. And then
Hmm.
people wonder why they're so lost and confused. Um, but what you put in your vessel is always the number one thing, because that's what literally fuels you. Like
Hmm.
they're literally numbing people and keeping them asleep with these small amounts of drugs. And I say drugs because some food is actually drugged.
Yep.
But even, I'm going to pull a John Rose right now. I'm just going to say, like, cooked food is also a drug
Hmm.
and numbs us to an extent, and can keep us asleep
Hmm.
depending on what it is. So, yeah.
Yep. Very cool. Yeah.
It's an intense, when you think about it, because I imagine, like, I've been doing this for 13 years, but I want to, like, put myself in the shoes of somebody who's, like, they haven't taken this journey. They don't even know what raw food is. Maybe they've dabbled in, like, some vegan meals or something, and they're listening to us and, like, wacko crazy, never going to do that. I'm fine now. Nobody could ever do that. Like, nobody's trying to drug us. I'm fine. I'm happy. And I'm trying to imagine, like, what I would be thinking or seeing watching this
Hmm.
interview right now. So for me, the only thing I can share with you is it's like how do I say it? To live one's best life, you have to be open to every single complex vulnerability to create change in your life. Like, we all get so wrapped up in that. And maybe perhaps you think that your life is fine, but even trying to just incorporate one raw meal a day could make the most profound difference. For instance, my sister, she had no reason to go raw vegan. So when I first went raw, just so that she could be a support to me in my first year, and because nobody else would talk to me, she went raw with me for 6 months. She lost weight, her skin improved, like all of my sister's childhood health problems went away. And I just remember her telling me, she's like, Kristina, I didn't even realize how sick that I was, and I wasn't even sick. Like, she just did it to support me and ended up falling in love with it herself. You know, here we are a decade later, and she married an Arabic guy, and now all of that's out the door, but she's happy. So
back to baklava.
back to the normal, basically.
Yeah. Is baklava Arabic? I thought it was Greek.
Yeah. It is. It's Lebanese.
Oh, Lebanese. Sorry.
Well, it's Middle Eastern food, but within the Greek, the Lebanese, the Turkish, they all have their different variations of it.
Oh, okay.
Different small changes. But.
That should be the name of her book, Back to Baklava, My Journey as a Raw Vegan and Back. Oh my
God. Yeah. She would laugh so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a raw vegan meal this morning. You'd be proud of me. I'm so sorry. I forget talking. I hope you don't think I'm putting you down or anything. It's I'm totally cool with. Look, all I'm about is people finding their way and people getting their health back. I'm so not about the dogma, who's right, who's wrong. All I care about is
there's no right or wrong.
There's no right or wrong. It's different for everybody, but there's so much to say. And with each group that you find, I say experiment with it. Experiment with raw veganism. Experiment with what I'm doing. Experiment with what all these other people are doing. Find what resonates with you the most. And I'm talking to the audience, not you. But and then learn, because it's really a grand experiment. What we put in our bodies. There's science and there's stuff like that, but ultimately the way we really learn is by putting something in our body, seeing how it makes us feel. So I'm not about the dogma. A lot of people are in the health world are always saying, this school of thought is wrong, this school of thought is right. All I care about is people getting healthier and better and connecting to the divine, connecting to their highest selves, because that's going to transform the planet, right? I mean, that's all I care about. So no, you preach on, girl.
I'm sorry, because I actually don't know what your diet regime looks like.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter, because I know that you understand the core of the message, which is to get people to wake up.
Yeah.
But I do want to add, you brought something that made me think of something. Everybody gets into this for different reasons, and I typically find there are 3 different things. It's like you have the health avenue, which unfortunately for people like me, unless I was sick, I wouldn't have done this. Then you have the ethical people, like ethical vegans, perhaps, that they don't care about eating raw, but they really just love saving the animals. They'll eat really, really unhealthy vegan food, whether it be vegan burgers or cookies or pizzas or, but for them it's okay because it's about the ethics of it.
Yeah.
And then you have the environmentalists who maybe perhaps they resonate with both, but more importantly, they're just about saving the environment, and it's not about health. It's just planet Earth as well, maybe a combination of both. I find that people tend to begin to take that journey when they find one of those that they're really passionate about. And mine was health. What was yours?
Health, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. I suffered for 3.5 years. I couldn't find the answers. I did try raw veganism for about 7 months, and it did actually help for a while. And then I felt like it wasn't sustainable for me. I felt like I was losing too much weight, and it just started. I just felt like I was hurting.
You have me making your dinners every night.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I bet if I was making your food,
I would have stuck to the raw veganism. Yeah,
probably would have been.
Yeah,
okay.
you needed to be there in the jungle with me. That's where I was a raw vegan. I do have a lot of phases of raw and juicing, and then I always come back to eggs and butter. For me, eggs and butter and ghee and stuff like that is just super like it does something to me. It like densifies me, and almost like in an energetic way, it just like makes me more like dense and on here on earth, you know, like grounded. But yeah, for me, it was definitely health. And when I learned during my journey is that, you know, there's like no one thing can be used for everybody, you know, like there's always different tweaks that need to be made. People need to explore and learn on their own. So again, I'm just all about people elevating their consciousness and elevating their receiver, you know, like making this car as smooth as possible, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
May give you a
Well, let me tell you about my raw vegan meal this morning because I'm quite excited about it. And I'm going to give you some ideas for your YouTube channel right here. All right, so I make acai bowls, right? And I get the unsweetened acai, and then I add like 15 different superfood powders into the acai with a little bit of water. I do like shilajit and camu camu. Have you ever heard of kakadu plum? You would love kakadu plum. It's got more vitamin C. Have you heard it?
I want to try it now.
Yeah.
I've never tried it.
Kakadu plum is from Australia. It has more vitamin C than anything on the planet. It's like 100 times the amount of from an orange, and like 10 times the amount of camu camu, which is an Amazonian berry. So I throw some of that in it. I throw some, what else did I put? Like 10 different supplements in there. Baobab powder, carob powder, cacao powder, spirulina, chlorella, and I blend it all up and I make this this basically acai bowl, but it like makes you high, you know? So
do you add any other kind of fruit in there, like banana, to help it blend, or is it
you
just
know what
that?
I use, and I always think about you when I use it because I saw your video. There's like 40-pound dragon fruit. I use dragon fruit, and you were like holding this dragon fruit like this bigger than your body. Yeah.
Well, I think that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it taste?
I put a monk fruit. So have you ever heard of dragon herbs?
I've heard of monk fruit.
Lo Huan Gao. Yeah, it's the monk fruit
Yeah.
sweetener. So I try and not have too much sugar because sugar messes with me. But so I put the monk fruit sweetener in it, and it just makes everything taste fruity.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what I sometimes do, just because I really enjoy the taste of things, and if I eat something, I really want to enjoy the taste. I'll make simpler recipes, but I'll make superfood snacks that I can have in the middle of the day. That way I can still get things in. So like for me, an acai bowl will be bananas, acai, and maybe I'll add in like 2 or 3 superfoods, not like 10, because the more that you add, the flavor gets really, really
twisted.
twisted.
Yeah.
So, and then you don't need to add sugar because the taste is actually stronger and you can appreciate it more. But then maybe I'll do like I don't know, like a little date superfood bar with mulberries and cinnamon and add other things in later, and then just have a bite, and then I get my superfoods in. I get a snack. I get a delicious acai bowl. #winning.
How do you make those bars? Is it a quick tell?
Yo, it's so easy. In your food processor, you could just add. I mean, I don't know how you feel about nuts. Sometimes I leave out nuts because I don't know how you feel about
lectins. I have people. I recommend a lectin avoidance diet where you try and minimize nuts, seeds, and grains. But that's probably hard on vegan, raw vegan. Oh no, because beans and
I don't actually eat that many nuts or seeds.
Okay.
Like in gas. So
yeah,
I avoid. And I did 80-10-10 for like a good 6-7 years, and now I just have increased my fat a little bit more. For me, that's just more avocados, more coconuts. But so I really love, like, you could do mulberries instead of nuts, which is like dried mulberries, dates, cinnamon. You could add in cacao, the maca, anything else, any other superfood that you wanted to add in there, and yeah, just until it becomes like a thick ball. It'll come out like a little cookie dough ball. You can add some cacao nibs on top. Eat it. Voila. So good.
Very cool. I'll have to try some of that.
And like sugar, but dates mask that taste. And I feel like dates is like it's a healthier form of getting, I don't know. How do you feel about dates? Are you good on dates?
I have them every once in a while. Yeah, it's just they're fine. When I have too much sugar, even if it's fruit sugar, I feel like inflamed and I feel cloudy. I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. But I love dates. I love them. That's the problem. They taste amazing, you know?
And
Yeah.
maybe eating greens with your fruit will help to slow down the absorption
Okay.
too.
I'm just gonna have you cook for me.
I would love that. I
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
happily do that for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. What do you recommend people, because I think, you know, we talk a lot about food. Water is so important. What kind of water are you drinking? What kind of water do you recommend to people?
Oh, I know you're big on actual natural spring water,
Hmm.
the kind that you go and you get
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah, yeah.
Obviously, I believe that that is the best.
Hmm.
But I think I'm about to like blow your mind.
Yeah,
I
let's hear it.
actually don't drink water on the daily.
You don't
I
drink
eat
water.
so much. No, it's actually
Oh,
probably months since I've had any water. I eat so much fruit that I am so completely hydrated, I'm still peeing every hour. And I drink so much juice.
yeah.
Like today, I've already had 64 ounces of green juice, and then I
Wow.
had snacked on oranges and papaya and watermelon as well this morning. And when I say snack, it's like what normal people would consider a massive meal. But I get all of my hydration through my fruit right now.
Which is
Unless I'm
distilled water.
traveling, yeah, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I don't have access to spring water like you do. So
Right,
for
right.
me, getting it through my fruit is like my next best thing. Because after that, I mean, I could get a filter in my house and all those things, but I've had one before and it broke, and I just don't even, I don't, I question the quality still.
Yeah. It's cool though, you know, fruit and vegetables, when you juice them, it's actually distilled. Like fruit and the way fruit is made in the soil, there's a natural hydrological cycle. The same with rainwater, the same with our urine. All of this is actually distilled water, so it's really pristine. You know, a lot of times, even if there's toxins in the fruit itself, the actual juice of it doesn't hold on to a lot of the toxins because it is distilled. So, yeah, that's super interesting. Um, yeah, I like water distillers. That's kind of what I've been doing, water distilling and natural spring water. Or, you know, 50 pounds of oranges. That's cool too. Yeah.
Basically.
What kind of juicer do you use?
I have a Kuvings.
Coogan's?
It's a slow, Kuving?
Cooven. Oh, okay. Yes, yes.
Kuving. It's a slow juicer. Um, I have it on my counter. I would bring it, but it's yeah,
Yeah.
Kuvings. It's amazing. It's a slow masticating juicer.
Okay.
It's amazing. I also have a Green Star, but the Green Star takes 5 times as long to juice and 5 times as long to clean, and the juice is just as high quality with the Kuvings. So
Okay. So yeah, from what I've learned, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but I always feel like the masticating is better because it's not heating up the nutrients, right? With like the centrifugal
yes,
blade actually heats up the juice, so you lose some nutrient content.
yes,
Yeah,
and the slow juicers actually press everything and squeeze the juice out, which is why your pulp is so dry. The centrifugal just like rips it apart and hopes that juice comes out and like,
yeah,
but in most centrifugal juicers, there's so much pulp and you can squeeze it and juice comes out because it didn't extract everything.
yeah.
But with masticating juicers, it literally presses everything so that what comes out is so dry, there's not an ounce of liquid left in it.
Mm, very cool.
That's how you know you have a really good juicer is if your pulp is like wicked dry.
Mm. Do you ever juice any like unusual, and I use quotes because, you know, there's no really such thing as unusual vegetables, but I've been experimenting with like black radish and like cilantro, wheatgrass. Well, wheatgrass isn't weird, but you know, things that like a lot of people don't even eat or don't, like celery root. Have you ever experimented with those, and
Yeah,
do you have
all
those
of
on the
them.
daily?
We've
Yeah.
actually had this I think this was our first phone
Was it?
conversation.
Okay.
You,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
asked me, you're like, what weird stuff do you use? I was like, okay, all right, I can go
Yeah.
there with you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I've juiced all those things. I'm really big on herbs.
Okay.
And I'm really big on like foraging things and finding them and then trying to juice them.
Beautiful. Yeah. What do you
Uh,
got? Do you have a lot of stuff in the area in Houston? Like
there's some things outside of the
nettles?
city that are really fun. I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to think of what would be really like. Ooh, I love it all. Can I
Yeah.
just say that I love it?
Yeah.
But like I have
Yeah.
purslane and I have aloe vera in the back of my house as well. I have,
Wow.
10 different kinds of basil. I have cilantro. Um, I have like 5 different kinds of mint. I have a lot of herbs. I'm into herbs.
And when you juice the herbs in the masticating juicer, you're actually getting the substance that comes out. I think I need maybe a better
so strong.
juicer. Okay, or maybe I need more herbs because I've tried with like rosemary and a few other things, and it's just such a little bit, comes out. But
but see, I put in a lot.
okay, okay.
Like I'll put in like a whole bundle, and then it comes out strong. I do love juicing garlic as well.
Me too.
Like, for people,
Yeah.
like garlic, I know people are scared of it, but like the health benefits of juicing garlic are insane.
Yeah.
So good.
I do lemon, turmeric, ginger, garlic, black radish, apple cider vinegar, cayenne pepper, and I take shots of those. Yeah. It's
I do
impossible
that
to
too,
get sick.
without the radish, but I do.
Yeah.
Amazing. I like it.
Awesome.
Love it. Just talking about food.
Yeah. Well, is there anything
Yeah,
else we should touch on? I know you're a busy lady. Do you have any?
Anything else? What other questions do you think people would want to ask or would want to know?
I'm curious about some things actually.
Tell me.
Maybe I'll be the only one that receives benefit from this, but I'm really curious, like, personally, as my channel and my website is starting to grow, like I'm so busy and I'm so overwhelmed a lot of times with emails and comments and just people, it's just like, it's a lot, to be in a role that you're in, and I just wonder how many years has it taken, and are you still working on it, like managing all of this stuff? Because you have literally 100,000 times more, maybe like 10,000 times more.
When I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
When my channel started first blowing up, like it was so much. I was frantic.
Mm-hmm.
Frantic, not sleeping. Frantic, couldn't keep up with 1,000 emails coming in a day. But at that time, I had 15 people working for me at Co-op, and I began to get help delegating so that I could be there for the things that I wanted to be there for.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, having an authentic voice and communicating with people was more important to me than having somebody else do it. So I would assign people to do other things so that I had time to do it. Mm-hmm. And that was the hardest part for me, because that meant I had to find people that I trusted, which
mm-hmm.
eventually turned out that I couldn't trust many of them. But that's how you learn how to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hardest part, is building a strong team of people and learning how to delegate your time, and knowing that you may not get to every comment or every question, but that's okay, because then you can use that to create content that's directed towards, 10 people sending you the same comment. You can answer all of them in one post or something.
Yeah. Do you have days where you devote away from technology? Like, I can only imagine how many times your phone's ringing and texting, and so you just
doesn't exist anymore.
What's that?
I said that doesn't exist in my life anymore. No.
Oh, okay. Wow. I feel like I'm starting to like need those, like I'm waking up some mornings and I'm just like, I just can't do this. Like, I don't want to be on my fucking phone.
I'm immune to them though. Like, I mean, I've been doing this, but then again, it's like, I learned how to do the online component while still running my farmer's market and, greeting 1,000 people a week. That for me was intense and overwhelming. But now, I mean, I don't know. I think it just like you get to a point where it's okay and you're just cool with it, and you manage it. Somehow you just do.
Yeah. That's awesome. I guess it just comes with growth and time and experience.
Yeah, you'll get there.
I'll get there.
Like, this isn't new to you. It's easy.
Yeah.
Just think of it as easy, and it will be easy.
Yeah, true. Just a little dramatic.
You're going through. Right?
Yeah.
This is a small problem compared to other things, right?
Yeah, true. There was you saying that makes me think of the owner of Virgin Airlines. He was like sitting at it. There's a story of him sitting at a dinner, and what's his name? Richard Branson. Yeah. And this intern is like talking to him at a dinner, and he's like talking his ear off, and Richard Branson is like, "You're boring me. Get bigger problems," like, and it's like, so yeah, it's cool to have bigger problems, like bigger problems meaning, hey, I have a lot of stuff coming in,
No. But, I will say this, I have experienced bigger problems than many in owning 4 businesses in the past 13 years that I would have never have chosen for myself, but I understand they're part of my journey and they've made me so much stronger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Very cool. So, all
Yeah,
right. So we got
but
the.
yeah, never tell anybody that their problems are problems.
That's what
I wish,
when people call me,
I
that's what I
wish my
tell them. I'm
problems
like, hey, your
were no.
problems are too small for me. Yeah. Hey, that's Richard Branson. That's not me.
I know. I wish no problems on anybody. That's, I wish ease and success on everyone.
Well, they got to go through some challenges, otherwise they won't grow, right?
Ah, it's terrible.
Yeah. All right, so we got the fruits, the veggies, we did the juices, we got the water. Um, do you have a supplement line?
I don't have my own line of
Okay.
supplements. No.
Okay. I think that's next on the list for you, right?
Well, I don't know
Fully
about
raw Kristina's Kakadu plum.
that. That's so funny. People would be like, "Is she for real?"
Yeah.
Oh, so funny.
What kind of supplements do you take? What kind of supplements do you recommend to your audience?
You know, I don't really take supplements on a daily. I take just the basics. I did the medical medium protocol for a while.
Hmm.
Anthony's a friend of mine, and he put me on, his basics like, um, some B12 for vegans, iodine, um, and no iron, but just the basics. Some magnesium,
Uh-huh.
some little bit of vitamin C, some what it was it zinc? Yeah,
Yeah.
zinc. So a few of those, but I mean I don't go crazy. I do
Hmm.
spirulina as well, but I
Hmm.
consider spirulina a superfood. So
Yep. Very cool. Got any questions
yeah,
for me?
I just think you're great. No, I don't have
Well,
questions.
let me get that emoji going. Whoop.
I will say this though. I do recommend that people get their blood tested before they assume that anything is ever wrong.
Hmm.
I see so many people like do maldiagnoses of themselves nowadays, and then they go and stock up on all these vitamins and things that they don't need. Like, just go get your blood checked and go figure it out, and then go from there.
Mm.
I think that's like the most spot on thing that you can do.
Mm. Very cool. All right, give me a few seconds here. Let me think if there are any other questions I had in my bank. Um, how much fruit? How much fruit do you eat in a day? I'm curious. How much? If you had to put it on a table, like how much space would it occupy on that table for one day?
So usually anywhere from 1,600 to 2,000 calories of fruit, and then the rest, which is usually about like 400, 500 calories of greens and veggies, which isn't a lot.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a whole table of food. I eat a
Wow.
massive amount of food, right? I mean, like 2,000 calories of bananas would be 20 bananas. I don't eat 20 bananas in a day, but you can imagine the volume is much bigger. Like a whole papaya is only about 450 calories. So think about that. Like I can eat a whole papaya, a half of a watermelon, a giant rainbow salad, make my own dressing, 2 avocados at night. Like it all adds up, and it looks like a lot, but the water content is high and the calorie count is low, which means you have to eat more.
Mm. Do you eat your
So
melons alone? Oh, like, do you eat melons away from other fruits, or do you eat all fruits together?
typically, most of the time,
Okay.
yes. I
That's
mean,
it.
obviously, there's some times where like the rule is broken, but I
Yeah.
try to abide by the
Okay.
rules, right?
Very cool. Yeah. Just for the audience, melons bypass the stomach and go straight to the small intestine because they have all the enzymes that are required for digestion. And a lot of other fruits spend a short amount of time in the stomach. So if you mix papaya and a banana, your body's going to get a little confused because the banana wants to stay in the stomach for a little while and the papaya just wants to shoot down to the small intestine. So papayas alone or melons alone is a rule that I learned in Chinese trophology, which has really actually changed my life, changed my digestion for sure. Things like not mixing a starch and a animal protein, which you wouldn't have to worry about, but starch and animal protein in the same meal. Stuff like having dairy alone, again, you wouldn't have to worry about that. And also two different animal proteins together. Which you're probably cringing as I'm talking about this.
No, no, I'm not.
Okay. You're not one of those vegans that you're not one of those
No.
vegans that are like, you know. Yeah.
No, I'm not. I mean, come on. Some of my best friends eat meat and do not live the same way as me, but I'm not gonna stop loving somebody or
Right.
disrespect them in the same way, right?
That's
Like
cool
that's
because
just disrespectful, and that's conditional love, and I don't vibe like that. So.
yeah. So a whole table full of fruits. How have you ever gotten this question before? How many times a day do you go to the bathroom?
I probably go pee like 6 or 7 times, maybe more, and then yeah, probably more. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And like every hour. Okay. As for number 2, anywhere from 2 to 5 times a day.
Okay, that's healthy. Yeah. I was researching Dr. Richard Schultz when I first started this journey, and this guy had like some chronic heart condition. Both of his parents passed away from cancers, and he was literally given 2 years to live. And he traveled around the world searching for all of the healthiest people, and he found that in like tribal regions in Africa, that they were taking like between 3 and 5 bowel movements a day, right? And that they had the most diversity in their gut out of any other people on the planet. And that's when he realized, because for him, he would spend his whole childhood going to the bathroom once a week, and that was normal, you know, like his whole.
That was me as a Lebanese girl growing up. I would like celebrate my once a week, but like it hurt to.
That's crazy. Imagine going to the bathroom. You know, this is like when I tell people, like most people, like I did a YouTube video on Andrew Hale's channel recently. You know the guy Loff, Lahwf, like the prankster.
No.
All right, he's got a bunch of subscribers. He's a pretty crazy dude, but all of his audience was just like, you know, because I said on the channel, like most people have between 5 and 10 pounds of old, rotting fecal matter inside of them before they detox, and they just couldn't believe it. They were just like, that's such bullshit, pseudoscience bullshit. Imagine if somebody's going to the bathroom once a week. Where is the other 6 days a week going? And how does a body look normal when that happens? Because it does.
I mean, but think about it this way. When you're eating meat, you have dead animal carcass in your body at 98.6 degrees for a long period of time before it comes out. Like, and people don't think that that's sitting in there, that animal matter could create disease, problems in you, all the above.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's intense. That's intense.
Yep.
I know. So I'll give you an Arabic lesson right now.
Sure.
Poop or shit is called khara in Arabic, right?
Khara.
So it's fun. Khara.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's funny because when I first started eating this way, and when John told me that, he's like, all these people walking around with big bellies, that's not fat, that's just poop, that's their shit. And I was like, and so ever since then, it's so funny when I've heard that phrase, I'm like, all these people walking around with khara in their belly.
Yeah.
Like,
it's true.
It's true.
Literally true.
Most people think that like big roll means that they need to diet or starve. No, they just need to cleanse it out.
Totally.
Eat right, flush it out. You know, you starving yourself is probably just going to dehydrate you and make it worse. Yeah, flush it out.
Hell yeah. Khura.
There you go. Arabic curse words are the best. We pride ourselves on those. I'm sorry for whoever's watching.
I'm sure I have an Arabic audience. There's probably 10 of you guys out there.
Maybe. I'm not.
Coolio. All right, I'll leave it to you. If you want to ask me anything, if you want to share any last words.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for doing what you do. Like, you're such a unique human, and you've dedicated your life to this, and it's appreciated on my end, and I know that so many appreciate you as well. Just want to acknowledge you for doing what you do. It's brave, it's vulnerable, and we need more people on this earth like you. Thank you.
Cleaning up the chura. I'm a chura cleaner.
You're the chura cleaner.
There's going to be detox dudes and chura cleaners. Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, thanks. No, thank you. Seriously, you're doing massive work on this planet. You know, like having that many eyes on you. You know, it's like it's a big responsibility. You know, and it's really awesome to see what you're doing, and you know, together all of the people in our roles who are sharing what worked for them, what they think is uh, ideal, optimal health is going to transform this planet. You know, hands down. That's what it takes. You know, people to really come up, rise up, and say, and especially people who have gone through illnesses. You know, that's what me and you have in common is we were so desperate that we just needed to dive into health, and that was it. And then now we get to be like a light, you know, if someone's in a maze, we get to be this lantern, kind of like saying like, come this way, and you know,
That's
maybe you're saying, hey, come this, like at the fifth turn, you're like, hey, don't listen to him, come this way. And I'm like, no, don't listen to her, come this way. But that's all right because they've already gotten 5 turns in, you know. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.